Okay, so you're headed to a meeting with your lawyer about a potential slip and fall, at a California grocery store.
Right.
We've got your notes, we've got some legal resources, and we're going to take a deep dive into the kind of evidence that can make or break your claim.
I like a legal puzzle.
Yeah, it's like a puzzle, exactly.
Yeah.
So let's dive in.
So when we're talking about slip and fall cases in California,
Right.
It's fascinating because it's not just about falling down.
Right.
It's really about proving that the store was negligent.
Okay.
We have to show that they either knew or should have known about some kind of hazard and just didn't do anything about it.
So it's not enough to say like, hey, I slipped on a banana peel.
Right.
It's we need proof.
Exactly.
We need evidence.
You need proof, and that is where evidence comes in.
Okay.
So let's start with the most visually impactful things, photos and videos.
Okay.
These are so important, and especially in California, where the law really emphasizes visual documentation.
So snapping pics of the spill that left lightning, even those scuff marks on my shoes.
Absolutely.
That all matters.
It all matters. These pictures are going to help build a really strong visual story for your case. And in California, the courts, they really want to see the context of your fall. So those scuff marks on your shoes?
Right.
If they line up with the spill location that's directly connecting your fall to that hazard.
That makes sense.
And don't forget about security footage.
Oh, right. Yeah.
This can be really, really helpful.
Okay.
But you have to act fast.
Okay.
Because stores, they often record over that footage very quickly.
How often do those security cameras even catch these types of falls?
You would be surprised.
Right.
There are often way more cameras than you think. And even if the fall itself isn't recorded, maybe the footage shows that the spill was there for a really long time.
Right.
And that can be used to prove that the store, should have known about it.
Okay. That makes sense.
Yeah.
Now, what about witnesses? Say other shoppers saw what happened. How does that factor in?
Witness statements are powerful.
Okay.
Especially when they're detailed and they're given as soon as possible after the incident.
Makes sense.
The closer in time to the event, the better.
Right.
Because memories can fade.
Yeah, for sure.
And here's a legal tip for you in California. A signed written statement from a witness.
Okay.
Carries a lot more weight than just someone, saying, oh, yeah, I saw that just later on in court.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
Now, let's say the only witnesses were store employees.
Okay.
How does that play out, legally speaking?
Yeah, that can be tricky. Because an employee, they might back up your story.
Right.
But they also might feel some pressure from their employer to,
to protect the store.
Yeah, to kind of downplay things. So California courts tend to look at employee testimony with a more critical eye.
Right.
Because of that potential for bias.
So their words could help me or hurt me.
Exactly.
Depending on what they say and how it's interpreted.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
All right, so let's switch gears a little bit and talk about the incident report.
Mm-hmm.
I know it might seem like just a formality.
Right.
But trust me, this is really important.
Okay.
In California, stores are required by law to document these incidents. So even if you think you're okay,
right,
you should report the fall immediately.
Why is that report so important?
Well, one, it creates an official record of the incident.
Got it.
Which can be really valuable later on.
Right.
It forces the store to acknowledge that, hey, this happened.
Okay.
Even if later on they try to say, oh, well, it wasn't that big of a deal.
They can't back out of it.
They can't back out of it.
Okay.
And here's a pro tip for you. Before you sign that report, read it really careful.
Okay.
Make sure everything is accurate. If something is missing or if something's just not right, don't be afraid to speak up.
Makes sense.
Because any inconsistencies could come back to bite you later on in court.
Right.
Yeah.
Attention to detail is key.
Attention to detail.
Okay, so beyond photos and videos and witness statements, what else counts as, physical evidence?
Well, believe it or not, the clothes and shoes that you were wearing when you fell are actually really important. Hold on to those.
Okay.
Because they can provide tangible proof of the fall.
Okay.
So a tear on your shirt, a stain on your pants, especially if that stain matches something from the spill.
Oh, wow.
That can really strengthen your case.
Okay.
And if it's safe to do so, and you can collect any debris from the scene,
right,
that can be analyzed too.
So we're talking about, actual pieces of evidence connecting me to the fall and to the hazard itself.
Exactly.
Okay.
Now let's kind of broaden our scope a little bit.
Okay.
And think about the store's responsibility in all of this.
Right.
So this is where property and lease records can come in handy.
Okay.
These documents can actually show who's responsible for maintenance and potential liability under California law. So, for example, if records show that a leaky ceiling was reported multiple times,
right,
but it was never fixed, and then that leak caused your fall, well,
right,
that's pretty strong evidence of negligence.
So it's not just about my immediate experience.
Yeah.
It's about uncovering maybe a pattern of neglect.
Exactly. Of course, medical records are essential.
Right.
They're going to document the extent of your injuries, the cost of your treatment,
right,
which is crucial for any kind of compensation.
Okay.
Keep all those bills and reports really organized because they're directly going to support your claim.
Makes sense.
And don't forget about things like pay stubs and work attendance records.
Right.
Yeah.
Because those show lost wages if I couldn't work because of my injury.
Exactly. Yeah. And then in some cases, you might even need an expert witness
to
really drive your point home.
So like a specialist.
Yeah, think of them as like specialists who can provide professional opinions and analysis to really bolster your claim.
Okay.
So for example, you might have an accident reconstruction expert who can analyze the scene and explain exactly how the fall happened, or a medical expert who can testify about the long-term impacts of your injuries.
So it's like assembling this team of experts to build the strongest possible case.
That's a great way to put it.
Wow, this has been so insightful.
Good.
Who knew that a simple slip and fall could involve so much detective work?
Right.
It really is like putting a puzzle together.
Yeah, you're essentially putting together this puzzle of evidence to demonstrate the negligence and the impact that this fall had on you.
Absolutely. And here's something I'm thinking about now as we get ready to wrap up.
Okay.
As I prepare for this meeting with my lawyer, I'm thinking about the overall design of the store.
Oh, interesting.
Are there elements that might inherently make falls more likely?
Yeah.
Even without a spill or an obvious hazard?
That's a great point.
Those factors could be important too.
Absolutely. And especially in California,
right,
where premises liability laws are pretty strict.
That's a great point. I'll definitely keep that in mind. Yeah. Thank you so much for this deep dive into slip and fall evidence. It's given me a lot to think about as I get ready for my legal meeting.
Of course. Happy to help.
All right. Take care.
You too. Bye.
Call now 714-442-9741. Thank you.